Well, it's time now for a look at what's making headlines in the French papers today. And for that, I'm joined by Alison Sargent. Hi, Alison. Papers, unsurprisingly, marking the second anniversary of the November 13th attacks at the Bataclan concert hall, bars and restaurants, and, of course, the Stade de France as well.
Right, Hexie, it's hard to believe that it's already been 2 years. France remains very much marked by those attacks. That's according to Catholic paper La Croix on their front page today. France has seen, the paper reminds us that, France had seen terrorist attacks before the November 13th attacks and has seen others since, but La Croix writes that the night of the Bataclan remains a key moment in the national consciousness, more so actually than even some of the survivors themselves expected. La Croix talked to one man named Paul, 31 years old. He was injured at the Bataclan. He says, "I didn't realize just how much it was going to change us." He told the paper that the more time goes by, the more he feels out of step with the people around him who didn't live through the attacks, and he compares his feelings actually to a backpack, saying it used to be a normal-sized backpack that was a little too heavy. Now it's like a giant backpacking backpack. And La Croix has a message for survivors like Paul and for the rest of France as well in their editorial today. The paper encourages the country to persevere, to continue as people have been, not giving into fear or hate, but keeping their heads up even as the threat continues.
And that threat really isn't going away anytime soon, at least according to French authorities.
Right. France remains a major target of the Islamic State group. That's according to the head of France's Interior Intelligence Service, Laurent Nunez. Le Figaro interviewed him, and he told the newspaper that Daesh, the Islamic State group as it's called here in France, that their desire to attack France remains intact. And Nunez says that the threat is permanent, in part because, as he reminds us, the Islamic State group's propaganda wing remains incredibly active and tells their followers to strike wherever they may live. He also gives statistics about attacks in France. Since 2013, 46 terrorist attacks have been prevented by police, 17 failed, and then 10 others actually did take place.
Now, the fight against terrorism in France has led to a huge number of arrests and detentions, which communist paper today, L'Humanité, says has led to problems for the justice system.
Right. L'Humanité says that France's justice system is now clogged up with terrorism cases. L'Humanité says that right now we're trying people who returned from Syria in 2014. So the paper wonders what's going to happen when we have to tackle the huge number of French jihadists who returned in 2015, 2016, 2017, and who may still return in the next year. The paper says this backup is in part due to lack of resources, but there's another reason that they're particularly worried about, and that's that France's anti-terror laws are influencing France's common law and making measures that were really supposed to be exceptional while making those measures into the new normal in all cases, not just in terrorism cases.
Now, those attacks do, of course, continue to haunt France, haunt Paris, but they are haunting one figure in particular.
That's right. That is the French president. Libération today takes a look at how Emmanuel Macron and François Hollande before him have learned to govern under this terrorist threat. According to Libération, the November attacks really changed the way that things are done at the Elysée Palace. The paper reports that the president receives security briefings twice a day now, every day, and as many as 6 a day in a moment of crisis. The paper talks about the Elysée living with the obsession of threat. Interior Minister Gérard Collomb told Libération that every fait divers, so every little news story here in France, is perceived as a potential danger. He says the hardest part for the government is actually not to over-exaggerate or under-exaggerate the threat, because they don't want French people to feel that something is being hidden from them, but they also don't want to create a mass panic.
We're going to end on something rather different, a light note. Altruism among some of our brothers in the animal kingdom. Tell us more.
Right, Hexie, these are bonobo monkeys, which are actually our closest cousin in the animal kingdom. Well, it turns out they're very nice to strangers. This is according to a study by a group of researchers in the US. You can read about it in Le Monde today. They found that the monkeys will spontaneously come to the help of another monkey if it's in distress, even if they don't actually know each other. So kind of the way you might help someone in the metro carry a stroller up the stairs. This behavior was thought to be only exhibited by humans, but it turns out bonobos are just as willing to help each other out, which might not be a surprise actually, because some of you, as you may know, bonobos are known for being very social animals and also using sex to solve problems.
Well. Alison Sargent, thank you very much for a look through the French papers today.